Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A protective covering that is part of a plant. Lie at the top of. Snow capped the mountains. The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. A fruiting structure resembling an umbrella or a cone that forms the top of a stalked fleshy fungus such as a mushroom. A mechanical or electrical explosive device or a small amount of explosive can be used to initiate the reaction of a disrupting explosive. An upper limit on what is allowed. They established a cap for prices. Dentistry. Dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. A tight-fitting headdress. A top, as for a bottle. Restrict the number or amount of. We had to cap the number of people we can accept into our club. Something serving as a cover or protection. A protective covering that is part of a plant. Protective covering consisting of a metal part that covers the engine. There are powerful engines under the hoods of new cars. An aggressive and violent young criminal. Metal covering leading to a vent that exhausts smoke or fumes. A tubular attachment used to keep stray light out of the lens of a camera. A headdress that protects the head and face. Cover with a hood. The bandits were hooded. Falconry. A leather covering for a hawk's head. Slang. A neighborhood. The folding roof of a carriage. Zoology. An expandable part or marking that resembles a hood on the head or neck of an animal. Lie at the top of. The center of a cambered road. The top or extreme point of something, usually a mountain or hill. A showy growth of e.g. feathers or skin on the head of a bird or other animal. Heraldry. In medieval times, an emblem used to decorate a helmet. Reach a high point. The river crested last night. The top line of a hill, mountain, or wave. The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. The federal government of the United States. One of the large alphabetic characters used as the first letter in writing or printing proper names and sometimes for emphasis. Printers once kept the type for capitals and for small letters in separate cases. Capitals were kept in the upper half of the typecase and so became known as uppercase letters. Assets available for use in the production of further assets. Uppercase. Capital A. A book written by Karl Marx, 1867, describing his economic theories. A center that is associated more than any other with some activity or product. The crime capital of Italy. A seat of government. First rate. A capital fellow. Of primary importance. Our capital concern was to avoid defeat. Wealth in the form of money or property owned by a person or business and human resources of economic value. The upper part of a column that supports the entablature. A fruiting structure resembling an umbrella or a cone that forms the top of a stalked fleshy fungus such as a mushroom. A mechanical or electrical explosive device or a small amount of explosive can be used to initiate the reaction of a disrupting explosive. A mechanical or electrical explosive device or a small amount of explosive can be used to initiate the reaction of a disrupting explosive. An upper limit on what is allowed. He put a ceiling on the number of women who worked for him. Maximum altitude at which a plane can fly, under specified conditions. Meteorology, altitude of the lowest layer of clouds. The overhead upper surface of a covered space. He hated painting the ceiling. An upper limit on what is allowed. There was a roof on salaries. A protective covering that covers or forms the top of a building. Protective covering on top of a motor vehicle. Provide a building with a roof. Cover a building with a roof. The inner top surface of a covered area or hollow space. The roof of the cave was very high. Be the culminating event. The speech crowned the meeting. Invest with regal power, enthrone. The prince was crowned in Westminster Abbey. The center of a cambered road. An ornamental jeweled headdress signifying sovereignty. The top or extreme point of something, usually a mountain or hill. The upper branches and leaves of a tree or other plant. The top of the head. Dentistry, dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. Tomorrow my dentist will fit me for a crown. The award given to the champion. An English coin worth 5 shillings. A wreath or garland worn on the head to signify victory. Form the topmost part of. A weather vane crowns the building. Put an enamel cover on. Crown my teeth. The crown, or the reigning monarch, as the symbol of the power and authority of a monarchy. The part of the hat, the vertex, that covers the crown of the head. The part of a tooth above the gum that is covered with enamel. Dentistry, dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. Dentistry, dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. An outer wrapping or casing. Phonograph records were sold in cardboard jackets. A short coat. Provide with a thermally non-conducting cover. The tubing needs to be jacketed. Put a jacket on. The men were jacketed. The outer skin of a potato. The tough metal shell casing for certain kinds of ammunition. Dentistry, dental appliance consisting of an artificial crown for a broken or decayed tooth. A recording of a song that was first recorded or made popular by somebody else. They made a cover of a Beatles song. Form a cover over. The grass covered the grave. Clothe, as if for protection from the elements. Cover your head. A fixed charge by a restaurant or nightclub over and above the charge for food and drink. The act of concealing the existence of something by obstructing the view of it. The cover concealed their guns from enemy aircraft. Travel across or pass over. The caravan covered almost 100 miles each day. Span an interval of distance, space or time. The period covered the turn of the century. A covering that serves to conceal or shelter something. Under cover of darkness. Include in scope. Include as part of something broader. have as one sphere or territory. This should cover everyone in the group. Fire that makes it difficult for the enemy to fire on your own individuals or formations. Artillery provided covering fire for the withdrawal. Put something on top of something else. Cover the meat with a lot of gravy. A natural object that covers or envelops. Under a covering of dust. The protective covering on the front, back, and spine of a book. Make up for shortcomings or a feeling of inferiority by exaggerating good qualities. Bedding that keeps a person warm in bed. He pulled the covers over his head and went to sleep. Hide from view or knowledge. The president covered the fact that he bugged the offices in the White House. Be responsible for reporting the details of, as in journalism. The Cub reporter covered New York City. Covering for a hole, especially a hole in the top of a container. Put the cover back on the kettle. Act on verbally or in some form of artistic expression. The course covered all of Western civilization. Sit on, eggs. The female covers the eggs. Protect by insurance. The insurance won't cover this. Cover as if with a shroud. Copulate with a female, used especially of horses. The horse covers the mare. A false identity and background, especially one created for an undercover agent. Her new name and passport or cover for her next assignment. Be responsible for guarding an opponent in a game. Be sufficient to meet, defray, or offset the charge or cost of. Is this enough to cover the check? Help out by taking someone's place and temporarily assuming his responsibilities. She is covering for our secretary who is ill this week. Hold within range of an aimed firearm. Invest with a large or excessive amount of something. She covered herself with glory. Maintain a check on, especially by patrolling. The second officer covered the top floor. Play a higher card than the one previously played. Smith covered again. Protect or defend, a position in a game. He covered left field. Provide for. The grant doesn't cover my salary. Provide with a covering or cause to be covered. Cover her face with a handkerchief. Spread over a surface to conceal or protect. This paint covers well. To take an action to protect against future problems. Count the cash in the drawer twice just to cover yourself. The act of concealing the existence of something by obstructing the view of it. The work of applying something. A natural object that covers or envelops. Under a covering of dust. An artifact that covers something else, usually to protect or shelter or conceal it. The act of protecting something by covering it. A natural object that covers or envelops. Assume a reclining position. Lie down on the bed until you feel better. Originate, in. A statement that deviates from or perverts the truth. Have a place in relation to something else. The fate of Bosnia lies in the hands of the West. Norwegian diplomat who was the first Secretary General of the United Nations, 1896 to 1968. Be and remain in a particular state or condition. Lie dormant. Be located or situated somewhere. Occupy a certain position. Be lying, be prostrate, be in a horizontal position. Position or manner in which something is situated. Tell an untruth. Pretend with intent to deceive. Don't lie to your parents. Be the culminating event. The first half of an inning, while the visiting team is at bat. A relief pitcher took over in the top of the fifth. Pass by, over, or under without making contact. The balloon cleared the treetops. A canvas tent to house the audience at a circus performance. They had the big top up in less than an hour. A conical child's plaything tapering to a steel point on which it can be made to spin. He got a bright red top and string for his birthday. Be superior or better than some standard. She topped her performance of last year. Cut the top off. Top trees and bushes. Provide with a top or finish the top of a structure. The towers were topped with conical roofs. The highest or uppermost side of anything. Put your books on top of the desk. Be ahead of others. Be the first. She topped her class every year. Covering for a hole, especially a hole in the top of a container. He removed the top of the carton. The top or extreme point of something, usually a mountain or hill. Finish up or conclude. They topped off their dinner with a cognac. The highest level or degree attainable. The highest stage of development. At the top of his profession. A garment, especially for women, that extends from the shoulders to the waist or hips. He stared as she buttoned her top. Be at the top of or constitute the top or highest point. A star tops the Christmas tree. Platform surrounding the head of a lower mast. Reach or ascend the top of. The hikers topped the mountain just before noon. Situated at the top or highest position. The top shelf. Strike. The top part of a ball in golf, baseball, or pool, giving it a forward spin. The greatest possible intensity. He screamed at the top of his lungs. The upper part of anything. The mower cuts off the tops of the grass. Any part of a plant or fungus. Any part of a plant or fungus. Device that bursts with sudden violence from internal energy. Handle and cause to function. Control the lever. Exercise authoritative control or power over. Control the budget. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. Control your anger. A standard against which other conditions can be compared in a scientific experiment. The control condition was inappropriate for the conclusions he wished to draw. Place under restrictions. Limit access to by law. This substance is controlled. Discipline in personal and social activities. She never lost control of herself. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Control the quality of the product. Maintain influence over others or oneself, skillfully, usually to one's advantage. She is a very controlling mother and doesn't let her children grow up. The state that exists when one person or group has power over another. Check or regulate. A scientific experiment, by conducting a parallel experiment or comparing with another standard. Are you controlling for the temperature? Great skillfulness and knowledge of some subject or activity. A mechanism that controls the operation of a machine. The speed controller on his turntable was not working properly. Have a firm understanding or knowledge of, be on top of. Do you control these data? A relation of constraint of one entity, thing or person or group, by another. Measures for the control of disease. A spiritual agency that is assumed to assist the medium during a séance. Physiology, regulation or maintenance of a function or action or reflex, etc. The timing and control of his movements were unimpaired. Power to direct or determine. Under control. The activity of managing or exerting control over something. The control of the mob by the police was admirable. The economic policy of controlling or limiting or curbing prices or wages, etc. They wanted to repeal all the legislation that imposed economic controls. Verify by using a duplicate register for comparison. Control an account. A device to repair teeth or replace missing teeth. Clothing for the head. Clothing for the head. Stable gear consisting of any part of a harness that fits about the horse's head. The hoist at the pithead of a mine. Restrict or confine within limits. Our actions are circumscribed by our biology, personality, and by the social and cultural context into which we are born. Draw a line around. To draw a geometric figure around another figure so that the two are in contact but do not intersect. Restrict or confine within limits. The mathematical value toward which a function goes as the independent variable approaches infinity. Decide upon or fix definitely. The greatest possible degree of something. To the limit of his ability. Restrict or confine within limits. I limit you to 2 visits to the pub a day. Place limits on, extent or amount or access. Limit the time you can spend with your friends. The boundary of a specific area. Final or latest limiting point. The greatest amount of something that is possible or allowed. There are limits on the amount you can bet. As far as something can go. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury. The tough natural covering of some organisms. A covering that is intended to protect from damage or injury.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.